I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is Monday, March 16th, 2015. We're here for the purpose of the regular meeting of the Elmhurst City Council. I'd ask that you all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you call the roll to establish a quorum.
Gutenkopf. Here. Deuter. Here. Dunn.
Here.
Leader.
Here.
Polumsky. Here. Graham.
Here.
Chaluto.
Here.
York.
Here.
Levin. Here. Healy.
Here.
Honquist.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Mulliner.
Here.
Wagner. Here. 14 present, 0 absent.
14 present, 0 absent. We have a quorum. On to agenda item 2, receipt of written communications from the public. At this time, is there anybody in the audience who has any written communications they wish to submit? Raise your hand if you do have such written communication. Seeing none, we'll move on to public forum. Public forum is an opportunity for anybody in the audience to address the council on any item they so choose. Out of respect for the work we have to do here and out of other folks who may want to speak, we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. If you get over 3 minutes, I'll give you a general reminder and ask you to wrap up. Clerk Spencer, at this time, is there anybody who has signed up for public forum?
Yes, we'll start with Claude Pagash, 566 West Gladys.
Oh, we ask that you announce your name and address is optional.
Claude Pagach, 566 West Gladys. Just in regards to last week's meeting, or last meeting of the council, these administration charges, I really don't understand them. The city doesn't supply the trucks, doesn't supply the manpower, doesn't supply the fuel. Little on it as administration charges. It says it also hires people to sweep the street. Again, once they make the phone call to hire them to sweep the streets are swept. I don't know what administrator would have to go out there, but maybe the city manager, the assistant city manager goes out there to take a look. As far as paying the bill, we spent $2 million to improve our computer system. I hope we bought printers for it, because it seems like a rather large amount of money for administration. On the agenda, we appear to want to hire a consultant to kind of give us an idea how to handle the downtown area. But that's already been decided by this council. Doesn't matter when the plan was set up. They keep on saying it was set up years ago. But that report has a little phrase in it that says you can apply for variances. And people just apply for variances. And even this council endlessly disagrees with all the variances. So why are we hiring a consultant to tell us what the downtown should look like when the council has already decided it? And since anything they may come up with will have the phrase variance can be applied for, why not just stay with what you have and you can decide what the downtown will look like? To hire a consultant, he can say anything he wants. But that doesn't have any effect on the council at all. Because it's the developer that comes in, and the council just says, yeah, that's an old thing, and we got to get into the 21st century, and yeah, maybe we'll write up a whole new set of rules. But these council members, you know, if you plan on being here for 100 years, you're not going to be here. And they're going to have the ability for variances. And you're going to go with it, and you're going to continue to go with it. So why don't you just stop spending money to have somebody tell you what they might like to see, because ultimately what you're going to do is say, it was a good idea, but we don't like it. We'll just vary it because the developer would like to vary it. So there will be no standard.
Mr. Pagash, you're at your 3 minutes. I'd ask you to wrap up.
All right. And the developer doesn't have to worry about anything. because the council always says, you want the variance, you can have it. Doesn't matter what was said years ago or what we said a year from now.
Mary Moy Gregg, OMG Brunch and Boutique, 105 South York Road, Elmhurst.
Hello. Thank you for having me have this opportunity to present myself. I'll be brief. Yes, as she had said, I am the owner of that secret new business that's opening up at the corner of Park Boulevard and York Road, right in the Fifth Third Bank building. It's called OMG Brunch and Boutique. I have submitted a request for a liquor license. It is report number 5.8, and also for the ordinance for an extension of liquor license 7.1 on your agenda. I'd just like to say that it is going to be quite a unique place. It's never been done, I've been told. It is going to be a fun, exciting new place. The concept is a unique brunch that is only fresh food. I don't have anything frozen. It's I'm going to change breakfast in the morning for everybody here. It's a global menu of breakfast and lunch around the world. So I'm Chinese, and so our brunch is dim sum. And if you're a foodie, you know what that is. It's a savory dumplings in the morning. And I also I've traveled all over the world, so I love French crepes in the morning too, and real hashes. So my calories on my menu, every item is 500 calories or less. So it'll be a healthy breakfast in the morning. You won't be weighed down, and it'll be. I'm mainly my customer base will be that morning commuter crowd on that train. That's hundreds and hundreds, and I was told 7,000 people go through that train station on a daily basis. That's a lot of people. So those are my customers in the morning. I'm open at 6 a.m. to 3. I've also like to add that I want to do a liquor license, a full liquor license, to serve brunch cocktails. I would like to be offering as well. So I hope you all approve this and come and see my place. Thank you.
And last, we have Michael Cremery.
Michael Cremery of the 500 block of West Crockett. An emphasis on gentle reminder. I noticed in the minutes of the FCAAS committee meeting from March 9th that there was a topic of discussion in regard to the rules of City Council 206F. And I want to commend the FCAAS committee for their 7-day response time very expeditiously. Although I'm concerned that it was just one resident talk longer than 3 minutes. And I've been attending various city council meetings and committee meetings for over 10 years. And many residents over those 10 years have asked and pleaded for your help for flood mitigation. Some have been at this very microphone brought to tears asking for your help. Yet 10 years later, we still don't have any shovels in the ground ready projects. I would encourage that this city council continue to try to provide flood mitigation for the hundreds of Elmhurst residents, rather than focusing on one resident that might talk more than 3 minutes. Thank you for your time.
That's all who signed in.
Okay, that's it for everyone who signed in for public forum. Is there anybody at this time who did not have an opportunity to sign in on our sign-in sheet that wishes to address the council? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing none, we'll move on to announcements. Any announcements from the dais? Alderman York.
Thank you, Your Honor. The 6th Annual Elmhurst Children's Assistance Foundation Casino Night will be held this coming Saturday night, March 21st, beginning at 7 p.m. The Diplomat West Banquet Hall will be transformed into a Las Vegas-style casino, and there will be food, libation, NCAA basketball action, and fun for all who attend and support ECAF and the great work that they do in Elmhurst. Tickets and further information is available at ECAF4kids.org. That's ECAF4kids.org. Thank you.
Okay, any other announcements? Clerk Spencer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just sort of a public service announcement. The consolidated election will be on Tuesday, April 7th, 2015. Poll hours will open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. I'm happy to announce that early voting for the April 7th election will be March 23rd through April 5th, and Elmhurst again will serve as an early voting location. Just want to make one note that we will not be open on Sunday, April 5th for early voting. Our hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 7:30 p.m., and Saturday, 9 to 5 p.m. And if you need more information, there's a big article on the front porch or on the city website about the upcoming election. Thank you.
Okay, any other announcements? Alderman Honquist.
Just a quick announcement, thank you, that Saturday, March 21st is World Down Syndrome Day. A lot of people don't know about it, but for those that are touched by Down syndrome, it's a big day, so I just wanted to make the announcement. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Any other announcements? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. At this time, is there any item any alderman wishes to have removed from the consent agenda for comment, to vote no? Anyone? Alderman Bram?
5.13.
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Alderman Bram.
5.13, 13.
5.13. Okay. Anyone else? Alderman York?
Thank you, Your Honor. 5.12.
5.12. Okay, anything else anyone would like removed tonight? Seeing none, I will ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 5.12 and item 5.13. Motion to approve consent agenda minus those two items. Motion by Alderman Healy, second by Alderman Bram. Clerk Spencer.
Healy.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Levin. Aye. Honquist.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Gutenkopf.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Palumski.
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays. Consent agenda is approved minus items 5.12 and 5.13. On to item 5.12, to put this before the council, I would ask Clerk Spencer to read the recommendation.
It is therefore the recommendation of the Finance, Council Affairs, and Administrative Services Committee that the City Council approve establishing a City of Elmhurst and an Elmhurst College Commission, signed by Kevin L. York, Chairman, Bob Dunn, Vice Chairman, Marty Deuter, Noel P. Toledo.
Very good. To put this before the council, I'll ask for a motion to approve the report and recommendation as read. Motion by Alderman York, second by Alderman Deuter. Alderman York, this is a report out of your committee, and you pulled this.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would ask that the chair recognize Alderman Deuter for her comments regarding this newly created commission.
Okay. Alderman Deuter, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Alderman York, for giving me an opportunity to give the background on this report. The idea of a formal partnership between Elmhurst College and the City of Elmhurst came from discussions between Mayor Morley and the president of the college, Dr. Alan Ray. The idea, as I understand, was that there was an acknowledgement of great things happening at the City of Chicago and great things happening at the college.
City of Elmhurst, I believe you mean. I just want to make
I
sure we're on the
mean-
same page.
I absolutely mean City of Elmhurst.
Okay.
I thought that in my head, came out wrong, clearly. Thank you, Mayor. City of Elmhurst and Elmhurst College, great things happening in both places, and that there is an opportunity to do more great things in our mutual interest by working together. That idea was given over to a small working group of 4 people. Of the 4 people, 2 were representing the college, 2 were representing the city, and I had the opportunity to be one of the people representing the City of Elmhurst in that working group. And we met for, I believe, 3 times. The first meeting was by far the most exciting. The group of 4 folks sat down, and we had lots of discussion around the possibilities. A whole bunch of ideas, lots of energy, lots of excitement and enthusiasm. I buckled down a little bit more for the next 2 meetings and focused on the framework, which was our task to create the framework for this formal partnership. A couple things that came up in preparation for those meetings. One is that the idea of this formal partnership between the college and its city is not a new one, and there are enough of them that there's an association that exists to support those types of partnerships. It's called the International Town and Gown Association. They hold conferences, they make other resources available to support these types of formal partnerships. The other thing that came up in looking at where some of these partnerships exist already is that oftentimes it is a problem or a specific concern or issue that kind of leads to the formation of the partnership. And in Elmhurst, we have the opportunity not to be starting with a tension or a specific problem, but it really is an idea born just of opportunity. The framework as it's being recommended is that this would be a City of Elmhurst commission, that there would be 8 members in the commission. 4 would be recommended by the college, and 4 would be recommended by the city. The idea is that the interests of the city and the college are balanced in this commission. All 8 of the members would be appointed by the mayor, so while 4 are recommended by the college, 4 are recommended by the city, all 8 would be appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of city council. The terms would be 2-year terms, but initially they would be staggered. So half of the commission members initially would be appointed to a 1-year term, the other half appointed to a 2-year term, with the idea that half of the seats are up every year. The topics that we would expect this commission to consider include community relations, housing, sustainability, economic activities, land use and development, recreational and cultural activities, health and safety, and education. And that's certainly not intended to be an exclusive list. I think this is a very exciting endeavor to kick off. I was pleased to be a part of the kickoff and glad that it's before us now. So I respectfully request your consideration and support on this report. Thank you.
Alderman York.
Thank you, Your Honor. And thank you for that great explanation, Alderman Deuter. I had the opportunity to share this concept with the faculty and staff and fellow Board of Trustee members on Saturday morning at the meetings, and there is a great excitement at the college for this collaboration as well. This is truly, as Alderman Deuter said, a win-win for everybody, and it's not born out of problems, it's born out of opportunities to be looked at and taken advantage of. So I also ask for your support. Thank you.
Very good. Any other comments? Alderman Bram.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one question. I do like the concept of this. I'm looking forward to seeing this move forward. The one question I have is, since Elmhurst College, at least at this time, and I believe shall always remain in its current location, I don't see in here where it mandates or recommends even that the type of representatives from the City of Elmhurst side. And what I would assume would be an appropriate recommendation, if not mandate, would be to have one of the aldermen in Ward 1, since that is where the college is holistically located, be the representative on this commission. So if the committee could speak to the rationale of not taking it to that next level of pretty much identifying what would be the appropriate representation from the City of Elmhurst side for this commission.
Would anyone care to comment? Alderman Deuter.
Thank you, Mayor. On neither the college side nor the city side was there a discussion about who specifically those representatives should be. I certainly would appreciate and can understand having Ward 1 representation on this commission. I think sometimes it makes sense to have an aldermanic direct involvement. I think other times that doesn't happen on all of our commissions. So I think the idea was we're establishing this framework. It will be the mayor at the time who makes the appointments to fill vacancies as they arise. Certainly an alderman could be an appropriate representation, but we did not consider naming specific people who should be part of that mix of 8. Wasn't part of the discussion.
Follow up, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Alderman Bram.
Even as an ad hoc position, a non-voting, if you would, position, wouldn't that be something to be worthy?
Well, I can handle that one in a sense that, initial conversations I had with Dr. Ray and also Lee Daniels, who's liaison for the college, we felt that the best representation, especially kicking it off, and we actually did talk about how there might be changes as we move forward, but I think the committee's done great work, is that we wanted equal representation. So I think ad hoc is probably I mean, I think these are interesting points you bring up, Alderman Bram, but, you know, I think there was a careful consideration given so that there was equal representation.
Okay, seeds to be planted to maybe be looked at later.
Okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll ask Clerk Spencer to call the vote.
York.
Aye.
Boyer.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Palumski.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Honquist.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Gutenkopf.
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays, motion passes. Report 5.12 is approved. And again, I'd like to extend a thank you to the commission, to the Finance Committee, but also to Alderman Deuter for her additional hard work before it even got to the council. So thank you for that. On to agenda item 5.13. This is a report out of DP&Z. Clerk Spencer, I'd ask that you read the recommendations.
Therefore, the Development, Planning, and Zoning Committee recommends that the City Council approve the applicant's request for a variation to the number of parking spaces. The city attorney is hereby directed to prepare the necessary documents for City Council approval. Signed by Scott M. Levin, Chairman, Danny Palumski, Vice Chairman, Mark A. Mulliner, Alderman, 7th Ward.
Okay, to put this before the council, I'll ask for an approval of the report as written and a recommendation read. Motion by Alderman Levin, second by Alderman Palumski. Alderman Levin, this is a report out of your committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's actually a fairly straightforward application for a variance. It varies the setback. This is, and I think the one thing that's unusual about here is that it's right off of 83, so although the setback is not quite as deep as it might otherwise be, that was one of the reasons that both the commission and the committee felt it was appropriate. It's a variation as to parking. And the reasoning behind it is that although greater parking is required for repair shops, the nature of this business is that as opposed to leaving cars for storage and repair, they're basically in and out in a rather short time, 30 to 60 minutes. It was approved, I believe, 6 in favor and none opposed in the commission level, and the committee felt it was an appropriate variance.
Okay. Alderman Bram, I believe you pulled this.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to comment?
Yes, thank you. So my comments in regards to this request is twofold. One of which is related to the variance that is being sought after, and that would be, even though by right, a monument sign is given by right in the C3, I understand that. But with this variance, this would allow the monument sign to be closer to 83 and possibly be an interference of line of sight for pulling out, pulling in to 83. So I wanted to know if the committee has discussed that aspect of this variance. I understand it's parking, but it's a 47% difference in regards to the right-of-way, which allows them to do the parking. So that is one aspect of it. The other aspect of my request or concerns over this petitioner's request is indirectly related. It's indirectly related from the standpoint of by allowing this to go forward, allows us to move forward as a development and impacts potentially stormwater mitigation. My concern is that this is in a floodplain right now. The petitioner is requesting to put a lot of, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but a lot of fill to level it out. What will that do to not only the surrounding properties, what will it do to Salt Creek? Because the calculation from what I remember, that the fill calculation, if you translate into acre feet of stormwater storage, and I know that's not the intent of the current property to date, would be approximately 1.8 acre feet. That's significant. And if we're filling this, allowing this to be filled, where is all this stormwater going, and how is it going to impact Salt Creek, the rest of the local neighborhood, and the neighborhood as a whole? I did notice that there was two or three, I was trying to bring it up now, 2 or 3 BMPs mentioned in the diagram. It doesn't state, from what I saw, on how much acre feet that will recover, if at all. So those are my 2 concerns: stormwater management due to the fill for this location, as well as due to the 47%, I believe, variance, the line of sight due to the monument sign that will be constructed.
Well, in terms of the sign,
Alderman Levin?
I'm
care to-
sorry, Mayor, thank you.
Would you care to comment?
I would, thank you. In terms of the sign, I don't think there's any particular discussion at the committee that I can recall. There is because of the setback of the property from 83 right now, I don't think there was a concern about that. I didn't see anything in the commission report. In terms of the floodwater, there was a letter you might have seen in the packet from the Forest Preserve District raising that concern. I believe the committee did talk about it. It's not, the floodwater is going to be addressed in the permitting process as opposed to the zoning process, so it really wasn't anything that the committee had a say on. I believe that it's going to require 2.3 acre feet of compensatory storage, and I think city staff has addressed that that's already been accounted for. There is no stormwater detention required because it's not big enough for that. I think it's 14,000 square feet and would have to be 25,000 square feet before that would kick in. Not sitting on the committee that you do, I don't know the exact requirements, but we didn't really address it other than to make sure that it was a concern that would be addressed in the permitting process of the building as opposed to the variance.
Okay, any other comments?
Follow up?
Alderman Bram?
Alderman Levin just made a statement that it's being covered in the permitting process. I'm not sure what that means and how we ensure the residents of Elmhurst, the residential residents of Elmhurst, that we're spending millions upon millions of dollars to mitigate stormwater issues in town, but we're resolving the potential stormwater issues that a development at this location may cause. And I'm not saying it would. I don't think there's any evidence that says that it would, but the statement being that it's resolved in the permitting process, how is that being resolved in the permitting process? Are we dumping in Salt Creek because we have enough freeboard to do so? Are we dumping in the quarry due to this development that is, because we have access to it? I guess if I could be so indulged on explaining a little bit in detail on what it means that it's resolved in the permitting process.
Well, again,
Anyone on the committee care to comment? Alderman Mulliner had his hand up.
If you'd like to, though.
oh, if you'd like to, I defer to you, sir.
The permitting process for this particular area relates to 2 different things. The city of Elmhurst has a part of the permitting process, but also the county has a part of the permitting process. And the county's part of the permitting process is to confirm and make sure that all the flood mitigation is handled properly because of where this piece of property specifically sits. They have all of the issues in front of them, they're well aware of it, and they will make sure that it's addressed properly. We also know that the Forest Preserve, separate entity, is also concerned about making sure that it's addressed properly. So I'm quite confident that the staff members, both at the county, Forest Preserve, and the city of Elmhurst, will address it based on our requirements as well as their requirements. They all understand the flooding issues that we have in front of us.
Okay, I think that's pretty clear. Alderman Bram?
So it sounds to me, what I gather from the statements is that we don't know how it will be mitigated. We are relying on the county/Forest Preserve to communicate to us how much and how that will be accomplished. That is, if I'm making an inaccurate statement, please.
I think you're inaccurate. It's our city engineers will be working with those entities that you named.
Not what he just said.
So I'm just trying to clarify. It's the 3rd time you've asked the question, Alderman Bram. There's your answer.
The 3rd time, but we don't know the method on how it will be done, correct? I've heard some people say that this is going to be utilized via credits that Elmhurst has. I heard it being mentioned in regards to the quarry. I'm just asking, you're making mention that I'm asking 3 times because I've asked 3 times and it hasn't been specifically stated. How are we making sure that we mitigate the stormwater runoff that would be due to this development? If it is unknown at this time, that is fine, if we're relying on those other bodies to assist due to their requirements, because we don't have them. So that is fine. I'm just asking that very direct and accurate question.
I'm going to ask City Manager Grabowski to address that.
I don't have the specifics tonight, but we're happy to meet with you tomorrow and talk through it if you'd like.
That's fine.
Anyone else? Clerk Spencer?
Levin.
Aye.
Palumski.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Conquist.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Gutenkopf.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passes. Report 5.13 is approved. On to Agenda Item 6, reports and recommendations of appointed elected officials. 6.1, Mayor Morley. That is me. We have a job fair coming up. I announced it, but it's getting a lot of play, and I think we actually sent something out from the city today about it. That is on August 15th. No, I'm sorry, April 15th. Now I know what Alderman Deuter feels like. That's on April 15th. We also have the Youth Awards coming up on March 19th. We will be recognizing, we've taken nominations, and the Youth Commission will be recognizing some outstanding young folks and their accomplishments. That's at 6 p.m. on the 19th at Sandburg Junior High. I will be there to also congratulate those folks. And then the last thing is we had our St. Patrick's Day parade last two Saturdays ago. And I want to recognize a couple of people. We had a wildly successful parade. And a man who actually shuns any accolades is the one who deserves a bulk of the credit, and that's Jim O'Connor. Jim O'Connor is the chairman of the parade. He's been chairman for, I think, 16 years, and he does a terrific job. And no matter what's thrown at him, he figures it out. And this year, it was a little bit of self-induced headache, as last year when candidate Rauner was in his golf cart, he pressured him to be Grand Marshal Rauner if he won, which he did. So my hat's off to Jim O'Connor and his committee. Also, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a department in the city of Elmhurst that was not touched by the planning of this, and we had a successful and safe parade, police, fire, public works, just to name a few. So I want to thank all of those folks, all of the volunteers. And then finally, I want to thank my fellow elected officials and Bruce Rauner. Mr. Rauner, or Governor Rauner, came into town actually at 8 o'clock in the morning. He came in and he went to York High School first and met with some Boy Scouts. He went to the President's Breakfast at Elmhurst College. He went to a brunch at Roberto's on the parade route. Then he walked the parade route for probably 2 hours and did not deny one person a handshake, a photo op, you name it. Governor Rowland really went out of his way. He even stopped at Silverado for a beer afterwards and hung out with folks. Alderman Wagner was kind enough to remind of a special person in Elmhurst who he missed, and Governor Rauner actually got in his car and drove to that person's house to say hi to that person. So he really went out of his way, and it was just a great day for Elmhurst, and I think it was a great showcase. So my hat's off to everyone involved in the St. Patrick's Day Parade. I'll turn it over to City Manager Grabowski.
Thank you. Just one item tonight. I had reported in the Friday notes that ComEd had notified us we'll be getting a new government affairs rep. George Gallrap is being reassigned to Northwest Illinois, Northwest part. I made contact with, I should say, I left a message for the head of government affairs today to find the details of when we'll get that person and who it is. I'm sure that once that person's named, they'll be happy to come to City Council and introduce themselves.
Great. Any other reports? Alderman Healy, then I'll go to Alderman Bram.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to give the public and the council a little more information on item 5.7 from the consent agenda tonight. That was our annual contract paving report. Every year, staff puts together the roads, alleys, parkways that need the various paving, regrinding, curb gutter, and they put that package out to bid. And every year we get bids back. Well, this year the low bidder for that package was actually about $125,000 over our budget. So at our last meeting, the Public Works Committee and support staff were challenged with a decision of either going over budget on that project and recommending dipping into the fund balance to about the tune of $125,000, or we were going to have to cut some streets from the package, and none of us wanted to do that. So as a committee, along with support from Director Killian and Corey Tiberi and Ken Johnson, we kind of hashed it out, and we came to the realization that a couple of the paving projects were actually within the TIF 1 area and qualified for TIF 1 funding. So staff worked to move some TIF 1 surplus funding around so that we could pay for the funding of those parking lots, actually here in City Hall, and then the city lot across the street from Francesca's, both in the TIF 1, so we moved some TIF 1 surplus around to be able to pay for those. So the good news is, we're gonna be on budget, and get everything done we wanted to get done. And during the discussion about the part where we were talking about going over budget, there was a general apprehension by all of us, given what might happen in Springfield and the loss of the shared revenue funds, and, you know, it's been mentioned that Elmhurst might get cut to the tune of $2.1 million as soon as next year. So the appetite for going over budget wasn't really there. So you know, our ability to pull on those surplus TIF 1 funds to tune of $125,000, you know, gave us our cake, and we were able to eat it too. So we got everything we wanted to get paved, and we came in on budget. So I just want to make sure council and public's aware of that. Thank you.
Okay, that does, I want to add to that Alderman Healy brought up a good point. There is a portion of tax dollars that are come back from Springfield to Elmhurst every year. It's called the Local Government Distributive Fund, and one of the proposals from the Bruce Rauner camp is looking at, since they obviously have a lot of funding issues down there, well, the state has a lot of funding issues. One of the issues that, proposals that's being floated by the Rauner camp is potentially a reduction in the LGDF. And it's a per capita thing. It's usually around $90 to $95. So you do the math. It's about $4.1 million for Elmhurst. If the one of the numbers thrown out there is a reduction of 50%. If that happens, that's a $2 million reduction in our revenue. So we have asked city staff to keep on the lookout, and it's going to be a common theme. I think you're going to hear more and more from this council as we go through contracts and consider funding and consider spending tax dollars, that we are looking at some sort of a reduction in funding out of Springfield. So I'm glad Alderman Healy reminded me. Other thing I'll say is just a slight change in what I'll call maybe nomenclature, but it's a TIF increment that we're talking about. It's not surplus. Technically, not a surplus until it's declared. This is actually an increment created with tax dollars received. Alderman York?
That was the point. That was the
TIF
point I wanted to
increment.
make. Thank you.
Okay. Alderman Bram.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two updates, if I may request. One being the status of Whole Foods. I see the sign up, and it looks like a lot of work's being done. So I'm excited to see that. If we know when their grand opening day is, if that could be reported.
Can I cut you off before your second one?
Yep,
I mean, is it about Paragon?
it is.
I have it written down, and I skipped over it by accident, if you'll indulge me.
Sure.
The walls are starting to come down as we speak. There's actually a demo on site, and the Paragon folks told us, we actually have 2 calls into them to get a specific date if they're targeting, but they told us originally that 3 to 4 weeks from the time they start demoing, they'll have the building down. So I actually drove by there today. Walls are coming down. They got some heavy machinery on there knocking it down. If I get an exact date, I will let you know.
Thank you very much. I will put that in my calendar 3 to 4 weeks from today.
Whole Foods, I've just heard.
In jest.
I understand. Whole Foods, we've just heard spring, and I don't think May 1st was their target, and I don't think we've heard anything specific out of them. They did contact us recently for a liquor license and something else, so we're having dialogue, and if we can get a date out, I know there's going to be a ceremony and ribbon cutting and the whole bit, so let you know.
Great, thank you.
Okay? Any other reports or recommendations? Seeing none, I will go on to item 7, ordinance, and I would ask Clerk Spencer to read the title.
An ordinance to amend Section 36.11 entitled Limitation on Number of Licenses of Chapter 36 entitled Liquor of the Municipal Code of Ordinances of the City of Elmhurst, Illinois. And that would be the OMG Brunch and Boutique.
The OMG brunch and you?
Yes, the report, item 5.8.
I'll remind the council before I ask for a motion to put this before the council for approval. On the consent agenda, item 5.8 was a report. There was a report, item 5.8, and in that report, when the council approved the report, there was also an approval to suspend the rules to allow us to pass this ordinance this evening. That's common practice. I shouldn't say common practice. That is something that we do when there is sensitivity to the timing of the business, and we want to be sensitive to the woman who spoke earlier, who's trying to get her business open as soon as possible and remove those hurdles. So, that having been said, I will ask for a motion and a second to approve MCO-05-2015. Motion by Alderman Healy, second by Alderman Wagner. Yes. Sorry. Motion by Alderman Healy, second by Alderman Wagner. A lot going on over on this side of the dais. Clerk Spencer. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any comments or questions before we vote? All right, Clerk Spencer, I'd ask you to call the roll.
Ely.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Gutenkauf.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Palumski.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Honquist.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passes. Item 7.1 on the agenda is approved. On to other business. Any other business this evening? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Alderman York, second by Alderman Mulliner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.